Hello collectors, and welcome to my review of the ulra-act Ultraman Dyna Flash type. Utilizing the renewal body type, this Ultra has had one reissue and is starting to climb on the aftermarket, going to the point of insane prices. Many collectors question if this inflated price tag is worth it, so let's take a look and see whether or not it's worth adding into your collection. Dyna looks awesome, with just the right blend of reds, silvers, blues, and golds. He's very muscular, which is a trend with some of the newer ultra-acts. And the overall paint application on the figure is pretty great. Little quality control issues on mine makes for a great experience. And overall, I don't really have much to complain about, only praise. Here's a look at Dyna's head, where translucent parts are used for the eyes and the top of the head, with a nice gold trim there. It looks very nice. Moving down to the chest area, you can start to see the blending of colors, and you can really notice the awesome paint applications. A look at the arm, pretty usual here. Switching over to the back, there isn't much to note here aside from no paint slop. Everything is nice and crisp. And finally, moving down to the legs, where there's really nothing to complain about, because all of the paint applications for the blue, the red, and the silver are nice and crisp. It's actually pretty impressive, and it blends together very well. Overall, Dyna looks great. Fans of the character will be more than pleased with this release. Dyna's articulation is pretty much the standard for the ultra-act line. There are a lot of joints, and you're going to be able to get a lot of movement out of them. So to begin with the articulation, Dyna's head is attached onto his neck on a ball joint. So you're going to be able to get some pretty solid movement out of it, but do note that because of an accessory, his head is very easy to pop off. You can see the ball joint there. But unfortunately, the neck, I guess you could say the technical term would be the throat, here blocks the head from really turning left and right. And unfortunately, even though the neck itself is attached to the body on a ball joint, you can't really get Dyna to turn his head left and right too far. Up, yes. Down, for the most part, yes. But side-to-side movement is pretty much non-existent. Now, as a standard for the ultra-act line, shoulders are attached into the body on a ball joint, as you can see here. And the shoulders house a hinge, which allows you to raise and lower Dyna's arms like so. And the bicep swivel is actually housed in the shoulder, so it's more of a shoulder swivel, which allows you to swivel the arm here. Very similar to the first ultra-act Ultraman, the renewal. For the elbows, you get a double hinge. As you can see here, some pretty solid movement. And the wrists feature a double swivel, or a ball hinge, as some like to call it. So you can get the wrists to move around there. And the hands, as you can see, are attached on ball joints, so the actual hands have just a little bit of articulation. Moving to the main body, there is a ball joint up here in the chest, which would technically be the ab crunch, and it is totally unrestricted. So you're going to be able to get Dyna to twist and turn and rock forward and back on that ball joint. So as you can see, that's about how far back he can go just on that joint alone. And as if that wasn't enough, there is a waist joint, which is a ball joint, and you get tons of movement from those two joints. Next up, for the hips, like all of the ultra-act figures, there are hinges on the inside here, which allow you to pull the legs up and down like so. And the hips attach into the thighs on a ball joint. So you'll be able to get tons of movement there, as usual. And the sockets in the thighs actually house a swivel, as you can really see it moving there. So you can swivel the thighs a little bit if you would need to. The knees feature a double hinge, as you can see here. 2 points of articulation, which is always nice. And the ankles feature the same sort of joint, which is used in the wrists. Double swivel, or a hinge, whatever you would prefer to call it. And luckily, since it pegs into the foot, you're going to be able to get the ankle rocker movement. So if you want to splay out Dyna's legs at all, the feet do swivel around. So you'll be able to get them to pretty much in any pose you want. And then finally, the toes are on a hinge, and they move up and down. So as you're clearly able to see, Dyna has pretty much an awesome range of articulation. However, the head can't really turn side to side, and the chest piece there, the gold band, does tend to block the arm articulation a little bit, but that's kind of a moot point given that there is a special accessory for that. So, if you can think of a pose you would like to get Dyna in, you're more than likely going to be able to do it. If you want accessories, baby, this ulra-act has got them. First up, the usual suspect, the color timer. Pretty much all you got to do is just pick at this blue part here on Dyna's chest, but eventually you will get it. And then you get the red replacement part here, as you can see, and you'll notice there's just this little tab on it up at the top, so this way it lines up properly. So this way you don't try to screw around with it or break it. And all you got to do is just slide it in, and there you go. Next up, there's this little triangle on Dyna's back, which you can just easily pop out, like so. It's in the middle of his back. And you get this replacement part here, which just plugs in, like so. And this is for a Tamashii stage support of all of the different kinds. So if you want to display Dyna in the air, I know this is kind of a janky pose, or if you just want to support him on a stand, then you're going to be able to do that with ease. As I made mention before, Dyna comes with an alternate headpiece, and all you have to do is just grab the head, pop it off like that to expose the ball joint, and you get this awesome replacement head. As you can see here, the eyes look very dim, and the reason for this is there's a part of the back of the head which is just made of translucent plastic. Why is this, you ask? Well, it's for a bitchin' effect. Watch this. Shine a light behind it, the eyes light up. That is pretty sweet. So if you're able to put Dyna in a room with a lot of light or near a window, that will definitely look amazing. Up next is a rather unique part, because as I made mention at the end of the articulation section, you may find that, well, this gold band here on the chest may just block the arm articulation. Well, if that's the case, you can actually just pop it off. And he looks a little bit naked. But the reason you can pop that off is you get this alternate band here, which is sort of crinkled, which you can just plug in to those same holes, like so. Now the back part doesn't like to stay attached. For me, it's a bit of a pain, but that's okay. Just got to keep trying. Eventually you'll get it in, and like that, you can now move Dyna's arms just a little bit closer together. Aside from the default fists, you get these two chopping hands, you get a set of splayed hands, and you get one right hand part, which is the thumbs up. And swapping out hands is super duper easy to do. All you have to do, as I showed you earlier, is just grab the currently attached hand, pop it off, reveal the ball joint there, then take your new hand and just work it onto the ball joint, like so. And voila, the hand is changed. Now, as a special attachment part, Dyna also comes with the effect part for the Ultra Fork. As you can see here, it's a nice translucent plastic ball sculpted into an extra hand part with some blue paint on it. And attaching this to Dyna is just like attaching a new hand. So all you have to do is just pop the current hand off, and then pop the effect part on. Might be a little tricky for you to do. And there you go. Now he's ready to play a game of baseball. And last but not least, we have the Solgent Ray part here, which is made of a somewhat translucent purple plastic with a lot of paint. And as you can see here, it's sculpted pretty well. And attaching it, it's just like an extra hand, because you can see it here. It is just an extra chopping hand molded into this burst part here, but it's painted purple. Not sure why they decided to go that route, because some of the other ulra-acts feature hands which are either silver, blue, or red, whatever the main color of the Ultra is, but anyway, it's not that big of a deal. To attach it, all you have to do, like I showed before, is just line it up with a ball joint, on the right arm, like so, and pop it in. And there you go. Now Dyna is ready to fire off his beam and kill quite a few enemies. So as you can see, Dyna comes with pretty much all of the accessories you would need for a complete action figure package. Aside from maybe a few nitpicks, such as maybe more hand options or another effect part or two, Dyna comes with everything you're going to need. Fortunately, Dyna is about the size as the other ultra-acts in your collection. First up, here's Dyna alongside NECA's current Godzilla offerings. Here's Dyna next to NECA's Pacific Rim Series 1 Gypsy Danger and Series 3 Battle Damage Knifehead. Here's Dyna in between the SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1995 Birth version and the SH Monster Arts Destoroyah. Here's Dyna alongside the ultra-act Golza, Red King, and Gamora. And finally, Dyna alongside his fellow Ultras in the ultra-act line. So as you can see, he's just a little bit shorter than the others, but realistically speaking, you're going to be able to fit him into any display you want. That's in the 6-inch scale. So, buy it now, skip it, or wait for a deal. In the looks department, Dyna's solid. Great coloration, and the sculpt is very nice. Articulation is the standard for the line, with a design flaw hindering the neck articulation. Accessories are out of this world. If you want a Dyna action figure, this is the one for you. Do note though, the aftermarket price is a bit much. Try to get it as close to MSRP as possible.